bless all them, but there is this, like I say, an underbelly, this very well organised, and I would say it's probably the ultimate secret society. It's probably bigger than the mafia, what is connecting these people and how they operate and the resources they have, and it really is frightening. So I decided then, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile everything. And I said to the small team I was working with, write everything down, let's get everything written down, get it all on an intelligence report so they know about it. We need to tell them, nothing can be held secret. We need to tell them. So, and I was very mindful of my audience, which would be the senior officers. So I compiled a very concise, factually based précis of a report with all the strong points of how long this has been going on, and it's been going on for decades. I'd found reports of kids being found in red light areas going back 15 years, and nothing had been done. And it was like I say, it was very well established. So, and I also put the connections, how the grooming works, how many children we had today. It was increasing by the day, increasing by the day. And also, you know, the ill effects, the after effects of it, and how the missing persons units know about it, the child abuse units. And I'll put it on there, and I'm going to sort of explain it in a second, you know, how this system works. And I submitted it, and I thought, I was proud of myself, and it was well written, and I was happy about it. Anyway, what happened next was, it was just a total paradox of what I thought would go on. There's a longer story to this, but I'm going to keep it short because there's quite a bit I want to go through. I was summoned to see the highest ranking officer that was on our command unit, who now holds one of the highest positions in the country. I cannot name this man because I'm suing the police, and I don't want to jeopardise anything. But this is all public domain, so I will talk about it, and I have done. And he brought me into an office, and he said to me, I've got to tell you something. He said, when I took over this unit, the former Detective Chief Superintendent sat me down and told me about the staff. And he said, he explained to me who I had to look out for, and what his words were, who was a wanker and who wasn't. And she said, you need to know, you know, what you're taking on. And he went through the names, and then he said, now there's this 5 other detectives. He said, these are the cream. Whatever you do, you never lose this staff. And he said, you was number 2. And I was quite impressed with that. And he said, the former boss said, whatever you do, don't get rid of him. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. And I don't mean to sound conceited, and I was quite pleased. And then he turned around and he said to me, what the fuck have you done? And when I beg your pardon, sir, he said, what you've exposed is going to F us, sorry I said it once, but past, present and future. This cannot and will not ever get out. If you mention a word of this, I personally guarantee you, you will be thrown to the wolves. If you mention a word of what's gone on, you will lose your home, your children and your job. Shut the F up. Now, I spoke with a solicitor for the government ICSA child sexual abuse panel, and he said to me when he heard this, he said he was probably just embarrassed about the reputation. So I said, well, let me say something to you. And I said, can I give you a scenario? I said, your work as a solicitor is not too dissimilar to that of a detective on occasions. And I said, what if you found a failing, a correspondent paper trail failing, or whatever it might be in your work, realising that a lot of the cases that you've lost, you needn't have lost, and you highlighted it to your boss? He went, yeah. And I said, well, firstly, you probably expect him to thank you for it, so you can now go on to win every single case. But if there is an embarrassment, again, it's going to be day one, and you start afresh, and everyone's a winner. I said, but what if he then sacked you, tried to get you prosecuted 9 occasions, and attempted to take your children off you? Do you not think that'd be a bit over the top? And he went, yeah, I sort of see where you're getting at, you know. So, and it was really bizarre, but why would anyone threaten me in that manner? And not only that, this man was a nice guy. I liked him and he liked me. And he said, I've got to warn you. I've got to warn you. And there was a woman sat in the office there who witnessed it all. And he said, if you ever say anything to anyone else, I, and neither will anyone else, ever betray rank fellow officers never betray rank, high-ranked officers. He said, if you put a complaint in or report as bullying, it will come to me and it will go in that bin. You need to understand you've got no idea who and what you're dealing with. So now for the second time in as many years, I was in the same situation, and it was all to do with the children. I then asked to leave the unit, and I moved to a child protection team, and there is a difference which I'll explain. And in the meantime, while I was there, the case that we had, it did go to trial. We had something like 34 kids, and it was reduced down to this one little girl, Zoe, who was found mysteriously dead shortly after the trial. It's appalling. It's shocking, and what a wasted life. And I said in that meeting, when he got threatened me, you'll never investigate another case when I leave. The woman that was in the office many years later met me in Scotland Yard, and she now become quite high up. And she said, come into my office. She broke down in tears, and she said, John, I watched them bully you. I did nothing. You were right. They never investigated another case when you left. They never let anyone go near another case of child prostitution. And that little girl ended up dead. And I said, yeah, I know. And she just burst into tears. She said, please forgive me. So I was frightened. I had young children, and I can understand anyone protecting their family. And the ultimate thing is, you know, the whole Maslow's scale of survival is you protect, you keep a roof over yours and your families. But remember, I was told, oh, you lose your home, your children, and your job.